Okay, so real quick, uh, I don't remember if I took the part out in the video or not, but there was a part where I said when I want to get something done, I'll just do anything to get it done as fast as possible. And after uploading the video to YouTube, I realized that I didn't finish editing it all the way, and so there's some little mistakes in there. Which, I mean, it wasn't a complete disaster, but I mean, I still could have done better. So, with that being said, sorry about that. Won't do it again. But anyway, going past that, I am ready to put in the motor now. So, yeah, that's what today's video is going to be. And I'll try not to rush the editing on this one. That being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so there's a slight issue. I have a broken bolt in there, and I was just able to start tapping it with a punch and hammer. She is turning out. Actually, this will work a little better. Now, this time, come on, I am not going to use a tap to clean these threads up, because while I got lucky on the block, I might not be so lucky here. So, just gonna slowly work them out. Now, I learned that little trick there by tapping on it from work, because on the pole shoes on some of the starters I work on, the I believe the PH4 Phillips head bit we use to tighten them down breaks off after a while. It'll break off inside of those Phillips bits, or Phillips head screws, and it will, there we go. That's pulled out, but really the only way we can get those out is by getting a punch and actually tapping it out that way. So, thinking back on it now, I did see a random washer in here. I wasn't sure what it went to. So, there is definitely the head of a bolt resting somewhere in this motor. I'm hoping I'll find it intact in the oil pan. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be, because my best guess is it went down. I mean, I would hate if it went down one of these. I'd be a little more okay if it went down towards the back of the camshaft. But you know, I can't always have what I want. So let's just hope that that's where it landed. In the meantime, or I guess probably don't call them the decks, but the surfaces for the intake are all prepped. They're all nice and clean. May not be shiny, but they're clean. So throw the gaskets on, throw the intake back on. Got to pull a couple of the injectors out because they're rusted over on the tips, so those will need to be looked at. That's pretty well it for prep work, other than pulling this timing cover off and I guess resealing that, resealing all the stuff on the front, cleaning up the little bit of gasket on this timing cover too. Shine up all the surfaces. I'm not even going to bother with a tap after the one broke off. Can't risk that. Yeah, that's pretty well the prep work I'm going to do. I don't think motor mount's meant to do that. Yeah, I don't think a motor mount's supposed to come apart like that. Or look like that. So hopefully my 6-cylinder motor mounts will work. So, slight big issue. I had to pull the transmission. I forgot. The only way this flywheel clears the only way I can get everything to clear is if that bell housing is put, or I guess the whole transmission since it's not separate, but when that's pushed back, so that flywheel can clear. And obviously, if I were to take the flywheel off to do this, I would still have to pull the transmission to to put the flywheel on. And then the other issue I'm having is this will not clear. I'm trying not to bend that, but it's looking like I'm going to have to bend it, which I hate, but at the same time, if I got to do it, I got to do it. Because otherwise, I have to pull the oil pan, and I haven't drained oil yet, so, and I don't really want to pull the oil pan just in case it, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns right now, and it's pissing me off. So, I've had enough of that engine leveler, and I'm just going to use what I used to put my motor in the last time, a chain, just straight chain, and yeah. This has been the most annoying engine swap I have ever done. Let this be known. This is the only engine swap I have ever done. Which makes it the most annoying, the most pain in the ass, the most everything. And the one thing I want to do now, more than anything else, is to beat my head senseless on this engine crane. That being said, the pure level of joy that I am seeing right now, knowing that the engine is in, or feeling right now, knowing that the engine is in, is indescribable. But at the same time, like I said, I want to bash my head in with every fiber of my body right now. And so is the feeling of every mechanic ever. But I know once I hear this thing fire up, it is going to be bliss. Anyway, story time, because I don't want to get up right now. When I did my 6-cylinder, when I rebuilt that, the pure level of joy that I felt after I heard that thing fire up for the first time, like, very first start, very first start, I cranked on the starter for a while to prime the oil pump. But the very first start, it fired up. And that was the first time I had ever taken an engine down to the bare block. Which, if I have the pictures, I will be posting them all sorts of different ways over here. Hopefully I won't forget some or leave some at like 2 minutes in like I did with the clutch. But yeah, it brought me to tears. And the very first people I called were my parents. And talking to them after a couple months after that, my dad was saying, like, he was trying to figure out if I had been hurt because I was crying, until they realized, like, it was joy in my voice. And yeah, gonna get a little, I don't know if I want to call it sappy, TMI, whatever. But that year, I had just gone through a divorce, which was fucking rough. And then end of October. One of my closest friends died. So I needed a very big pick-me-up, and if that truck did not start, that would have been a terrible way to end the year. But I think it was shortly before New Year. Actually, now that I think about it, it was December 30th when I finished it. 30th, because I drove up to Lincoln and went and celebrated the New Year with my brother. So, but yeah, that was the pick-me-up I needed. So, this whole engine swap, with as pissed off as I've been with it, has been bringing back memories of then because I actually did it in this exact same spot. So, yeah. Anyway, this is as much as I wanted to get done for today. I'm going to try and get the transmission put back up to the motor, get that put in. Not even going to bother with the exhaust, not going to bother with the front end. It's going to sit like this. I'm going to put the hood on. Going to put the exhaust on, or put the transmission on, put the drive line back in place. Put the actually, I'll probably cut the exhaust. No, I won't. I'll get the exhaust off the donor truck, bring that here. If that will fit, I'm almost 100% sure it'll fit because it was a single cab long bed. This is a single cab long bed. The only difference between this and that was an automatic and a four-wheel drive. This is a manual and two-wheel drive. That should have nothing to do with anything. But if it does, I probably shouldn't cut this one out until I know for sure. I'll probably get this sensor in, the coolant temp sensor, because I broke that when I went to go lift the motor out. Lift the motor up and put it in. Yeah, so probably just transmission, drive line, bits and pieces here and there, hood, and just shove the thing back out. And then spend probably the next 3 hours cleaning up all the coolant and oil it dumped on the floor. But yeah. Oh yeah, and pull this chain off and probably grab a couple torque wrenches. That way I can... Actually, I got a 2x4. Yeah, now that this motor's in, I'll need to pull the oil pan and put a 2x4 underneath one of the pistons when I go to torque this pulley down. Anyway, I'll get everything bolted up. Unfortunately, it's too short, or the camera's too tall to fit underneath to watch all this stuff, so that is, I guess, where I'll end this episode. So, thank you for tuning in for part 2. Yeah, part 3 will be coming out soon. So, see you then. Alrighty, so that's the first actual crank. Kind of nervous, so yeah. Neutral, here we go. It started! Yes! And it sounds okay-ish. I don't think I got the exhaust put on exactly right, but it's running! Yes! And it's sounding better as it goes. I've got oil pressure. Oh man.